Hi, welcome to another edition of Engineering with LEGO Bricks and Robolab. I'm Eric Wong, and I'll be your host. Another tutorial on something which seems basic, but there are a few hints and tips to make your life easier, but motor control. So how do you make your life a little bit easier with motor control? Well, here's a simple program. Drive forward for 1 second, drive backwards for 1 second, then stop. And I'm controlling motor A, and I'm running it at full power. So it turns out that Robolab uses not just the 5 powers, which you normally see here. If I look on the palette, you see 5 power levels. It turns out there are actually 8. Let me bring up a little diagram and show you how that translates. So it turns out that there are 8 power levels on the R6, 1 through 8, and then these things map 1 for 1, 2 for 2, 3 to 4, 4 to 6, and 5 to 8. But there are actually 8 power levels, and so you don't have access to power levels 3, 5, and 7 as it currently is seeing with using these standard modifiers. Now, because CS people like to start at number 0, it's just the way it works, is actually I can get at those by using integer values 0 through 7. So if I actually use the integer value 0, I can run the power level 1, if I run 1, I run a 2, etc., etc. 7 is full power. Now, the only thing to note here is that if you give the motor icon anything greater than 7, it runs at full power. And if you give it anything less than 0, it also runs at full power. So as it turns out, I could have, rather than using power level 5, I could have come in here and I could use the constant number 7. Because power level 7, remember, is full power, or integer value 7 is power level 8, which is the same as full power. So the number 7 would achieve the exact same result as using this modifier number 5. Now, that's kind of neat and everything, so you can get those 3 extra power levels. But what's more interesting is actually if I went in and replaced this guy with a container value. And that would be a lot more interesting because now I could run my power levels and have them change as a function of time. In fact, anything with a blue wire. So now if I could, as this modifier changes, as this container changes, the power speed will change. So you got to remember one thing though, is that if I give it the value number, if the container is greater than 7, it runs at full power, and if it's at less than 0, it also runs at full power. So if I give it 15, it runs at full power forward. And if I give it negative 15, it runs at full power forward. And that actually irks me a little bit. It doesn't make much sense. It'd make more sense to me if you gave it power level 7, it ran forward at power level 7, or power level 8. And if you gave it the number negative 7, it ran full power backwards. So the sign should control the direction and the magnitude should control the power level. Well, it turns out there actually is that case. If you go and we look at the advanced motor control palette, there is a function here which is called motor forward back, which just does that. So if I replace this guy with motor forward back, I will achieve exactly that. I'm going to do this other way, I can see now. Motor forward back says if the value is 0, it stops. So if my container is 0, it actually stops the motor. If it's greater than 0, it goes forward. If it's less than 0, it goes reverse. Now the disadvantage is I do give up 1 power level because normally integer value 0 would be power level 1. As you can see here, and we have to give that up because now that's the stop command. And someday in the future they may make it 0 through 8, so we'll get back all our power levels, but they haven't done that yet. But this analysis, if I give it the number 7, it goes full power forwards. If I give it the number negative 7, it goes full power backwards, and then you have everything in between, basically until you get to 0, which actually tells the motors to stop. Now, new in Robolab 2.9 is also you have 100 power levels. So you don't just have 8, you have 100, which gives you a lot better control than motors. You can do much more interesting things. So you have 100 power levels to deal with. We'll save that tutorial for another day.